This green okra stew recipe is a keeper for two reasons. One, it is a breeze to make. Very simple, anyone can make it. Two, it is absolutely delicious and you're going to love it. Let's make it. I have here some snails. These have been washed, ready to be used. I also have here some blue crab, also cleaned. Let's just say all my ingredients are ready except for my kako, which I have in my hand right now. This is salted and dried shark fish. I also have some tripe. I have some honeycomb, which is from cow, and these ones right here are goat meat tripe, all ready. I'm also going to be adding some fresh fish in my stew, and that is going to be this red snapper, ribri as we call it in Ghana. These are two large ones cut into 3 portions each. I'll be adding some jute leaf or ayoyo, also known as molokhia or molokhia leaves, whichever way you want to call it. Very rich in iron and folate, vitamins A and C as well, and it's going to bring some draw, that slimy texture, as well as a vibrant pop of green. I have some okra. I have cut both ends, and this I'm going to blend. I also have some okra cut up into just these circles together. We're going to have a good balance of texture, the chopped and the blended. I'm going to be using 2 onions. I have a yellow onion as well as a red one. The red one, I'm going to be adding half of it cut up in my stew at the end for that pop of color. All these peppers, you're going to be asking me, but we want some color. I'm pretty much going to just use one blended in the stew. Everything else is just for that pop, After all, we eat with our eyes first. I also have a piece of ginger root, which I'm going to chop up and blend with some of my onions to cook my meats with. Right here, I have some beef as well as cow skin, which we call wele in Ghana, pre-cooked. And that is going to go in my stew as well. To start anything, I'm going to wash my kako. This is very salted, so you want to make sure that you get rid of some of the salt. So when you put it in your stew, it's not just going to be for flavor. Kako is very, very nice. A beautiful texture. I love to eat it, but it's absolutely salty. You have to soak it way ahead of time if you have any plans of eating it. Even if you don't want to eat it, you want to make sure you get rid of some of the salt, because you can end up having your food overly salty if you don't prepare this well. So I've rinsed it twice, and now I'm going to make sure that it is fully covered with water. I'm going to set that aside, and it's going to soak and just release some of the salt, so I can just pour that out before I use. I'm going to start cooking my meat. So I have my tripe, my crab and snails in my pot. To that, I'm going to be adding some salt. Always going to be according to your taste, but remember you have that kako, which is very salty. I'm going to be adding some black pepper, and to go on my meat, I'm going to be blending my ginger root, so just cutting that up. Very, very few ingredients going on my meat, as you can tell, just the ginger, some onions. So the red one, I'm actually going to save half of that, which is going to be cut up later, and just put in my stew when it's almost done for that pop of color with those peppers. The other half has been chopped, and I'm going to add that with this either white or yellow onion. Cut it all up and blend to go on my meat.
Delicious. 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 Delicious.
My blender is full, so I'm going to add that small amount of the yellow onions with the red to go in the stew later. I'm going to add some water, cover my blender, and I'll set that aside to blend later. So my red onion, I'm going to cut up. Now that my onion is all cut up, I'm going to just separate it or flick it up so that I have many more pieces. I want my okra to be very well studded with this beautiful red color. And the combination of this and the peppers just makes your okra stew more pleasing to the eye. And I like the texture, the bite as well. So I'm going to set this aside now and blend my other ingredients to go on my meats. going to set this much aside to season my red snapper with. Stir it to make sure that all ingredients are mixed and combined. I'm going to season my fish with some salt and pepper, so grind in some salt as well as some black pepper. Now I'm going to add the remaining blended ingredients that I saved, and I'm just going to coat my fish with this. And then I'm just going to set it aside to marinate. And now I'm going to rinse my blender and add that in here as well.
Tasty.
Now I'm going to cover and bring to a boil. My meats have cooked for about 15 minutes. I'm going to rinse my kako. Add that in here as well. Also going to add my pre-cooked beef and cow skin. Rinse out the bowl. Add that in here. Give everything a stir and let it cook some more.
Delicious. Delicious. Delicious.
Now I'm going to work on my okra. Like I said, this is a very quick and simple recipe. So I'm going to just throw all the whole ones into my food processor. I'm using the food processor. It's going to assure me a perfect chop. You could grate it, but for me this works better. Now I'm just going to crush this. Our meat's boiling gorgeously. I'm going to add in here one shrimp tablet. Give it a stir. I'm just trying to make room in here to put my fish so it can steam. So I'm going to just strategically plant my fish in here. Rinse the stock and add it. Now I'll cover and let it cook. Now I'm going to chop up my jute leaf. I've pretty much removed all the stalk. A few of them are still there like that, but for the most part I've removed everything. Arrange them. I'm not going to cut them into little pieces really. I just want them to be seen, you know. I don't want them to just melt away. So however you desire it, I want some texture, and so that's what I'm going to do. Just a rough chop. And if you want to go the lazy way, of course, you could always do this.
Delicious, yeah, yeah. Delicious, da da. Delicious, yeah, yeah. Delicious, da da da. Delicious, delicious, da da. Delicious, yeah, yeah, yeah. Delicious. Can you smell the aroma? Yeah. From Kwachiwa's kitchen, yeah.
I have some water boiling. To that I'm going to add my okra. The chopped one first. Then I'll add the cut one as well. Now I'll add about a teaspoon of baking soda. Give it a stir. The baking soda is going to assure you that your okra is going to maintain its beautiful green color, a very vibrant one at that. Just going to rinse out my blender, add it in here. I'm going to add this much of salt, just so the okra still tastes, you know, like it has something going in for it. I don't want to just have it cooked with no taste. I'm going to cover partially, just leave room to vent, because I don't want this boiling over. Okra already has a beautiful color. It's bubbling, and it takes no time for okra to cook, so I'm just going to add in my jute leaf so they all cook together. See the draw, just look at that. I feel like now is the perfect time for me to take out my fish. I'm gonna bring them out so they don't fall apart. And I will reintroduce them when everything is in there and okra is almost ready to be served. There.
Can you smell the aroma? Yeah. From what she was kitchen. Yeah. Delicious. Yeah. Delicious. Delicious. Yeah. Delicious. Delicious.
At this point, I'm going to introduce all my peppers. These are not really for spice, well, not the intent, but the main reason is to put some pop of color in our okra stew. I'm just going to keep that covered for a while so the peppers cook a little bit through. I think peppers have had a little bit of chance to cook. They should be good now, and I'm going to pour the okra over the meats.
Delicious. 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 Delicious.
Just look at how gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to reintroduce my fish, planting them strategically. Trying to make sure there's no overlap. Just like that. Food is ready. Food is ready. Just look. This was served with some banku and it was very well enjoyed. You could also have it with eba or white rice, and I bet you will enjoy it as well. I really hope you give this recipe a try. It is a keeper, and I hope you and yours think the same about it when you make it. I also have to add that I was very happy with this as a meal prepper. I portioned out a few and froze for a month. And when I did bring it out of the freezer and we ate it, it tasted just as it did the very first day I made it. So if you're wondering if this freezes, I hope that answers your question. Please help this video reach a wider audience by liking and sharing. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.